Asia is a region in the world with the largest population when you compare it to other continents on the planet. So with that comes a whole lot of people, as well as a whole lot of land space and airspace that's got to be protected. So which of the Asian countries are the most powerful when it comes to their military? Let's find out right now. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Leroy Kenton and welcome back to another episode of FTD Facts. This is a channel where we look at the different countries, cultures, and people from all around the world. First nation to look at is Vietnam. Vietnam comes in at number 10, and their army is known as the People's Army of Vietnam, aka the Vietnamese People's Army, and it's the military force of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. The People's Armed Forces includes the ground force, the Navy, the Air Force, as well as the Border Defense Force and the Coast Guards. When it comes to power, their power rating is 0.3988, so Vietnam is the 23rd most powerful country in the world. They have a total of 5,482,000 military personnel. They have 318 aircrafts in their possession. Of those aircrafts, 108 are fighter aircraft, and for the total tanks, they have 2,575, as well as 2,530 armored fighting vehicles. When it comes to their Navy, they have 65 naval assets, and they also have a total of 140 helicopters. Now their defense budget sits at $3,365,000,000. Now moving on to the country of Taiwan. The Republic of China Armed Forces, commonly known as the Taiwanese Armed Forces, are the armed forces of the Republic of China now on Taiwan. And this encompasses the Army, the Navy, including the Republic of China Marine Corps, Air Force, and the Military Police Force. Their power index rating is 0.3956, and they rank 22nd in the world for military power. When it comes to total military personnel, Taiwan has 1,890,000. Their total aircraft sit at 837. They have 137 fighter aircraft, 1,855 combat tanks. Their armored fighting vehicles total at 2,050, and they have a total of 87 naval assets. For helicopters, their totals equal 837, and they have a defense budget of $10,725,000,000. Moving on down the list, we have North Korea coming up next. The Korean People's Army is an institution of the Workers' Party of Korea, and it constitutes the de facto military forces of North Korea. Under the Sungum policy, it is the central institution of North Korea's community. Kim Jong-un is the supreme commander and the chairman of the Central Military Commission. North Korea's power index rating is 0.3274, and they rank 18th in the entire world. 7,580,000 is their total military personnel. They have 949 total aircraft and 458 fighter aircraft. For combat tanks, that total is at 6,075. Their armored fighting vehicles are 10,000. That's a lot. Their naval assets are 967, and when it comes to total helicopters, that is 204. All of this funded by a defense budget of $7,500,000,000. Okay, so now let's see what Indonesia has to offer. The Indonesian National Armed Force are the military forces of the Republic of Indonesia, and it consists of the Army, Navy, as well as the Air Force. So the President of Indonesia is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Their power index rating is 0.2804, and they rank 16th in the entire world. Their total military personnel is 800 million. For aircrafts, they have a total of 451 and 41 fighter aircraft. They have 315 combat tanks in their possession, as well as 1,300 armored fighting vehicles. Their total naval assets sit at 221, and they have a total helicopter strength of 192. Now their defense budget is a total of $6,900,000,000. In at the number 6 spot in this episode is Pakistan. The Pakistani Armed Forces are the military forces of Pakistan, and they are the 6th largest in the entire world in terms of active military personnel, as well as the largest among the Muslim countries. And when it comes to military power, their rating is 0.2798. They rank 15th in the world in terms of military power, and they have a total of 1,204,000 total military personnel. Their total aircraft count is at 1,342. They also have 348 fighter aircraft, 2,200 combat tanks, Their armored fighting vehicles total are at 3,665, and they have 197 total naval assets. For helicopters, that count is at 322. And the defense budget of Pakistan sits at $7 billion. Okay guys, so we made it to the second half of this episode. 5 more nations to go. Number 5, yeah, that's the nation of Iran. Their Iranian armed forces is made up of the army, the Revolutionary Guard Corps, and the law enforcement forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran. These forces total approximately 520,000 active personnel. Now, all the branches of the armed forces fall under the command of the General Staff of Armed Forces. Their military power index rating is 0.2606, and they rank 14th in the entire world. When it comes to total military personnel, not just the active personnel, that number sits at 873,000. Pakistan's total aircraft count is at 509. They have 142 fighter aircraft. Their combat tank total is 1,634. Pakistan, in their possession, they have 2,345 armored fighting vehicles, and their total naval assets are at 398. And for their helicopter count, that number is at 126. Their military defense budget is $6.3 billion. We're almost at the bottom of the list. Coming up next is South Korea. The Republic of Korea's armed forces, also known as the ROK Armed Forces, are the armed forces of South Korea, of course. They were created in the year 1948 following the division of Korea, and the ROK Armed Forces is one of the largest standing armed forces in the entire world because they rely on millions of personnel. Their power index rating is 0.1761, and they rank 7th in the entire world. That's a very powerful military force they have. Their total military personnel sit at 5,827,250. For their total aircraft, that number is 1,614, 406 fighter aircraft, 2,654 combat tanks. They have a total of 2,870 armored fighting vehicles, 166 naval assets, and a helicopter count at 777. Now, their defense budget is a whopping $38.3 billion. So kicking off the top 3 in this episode is the country of Japan. The Japan Self-Defense Forces, also known as the Japanese Armed Forces, are the unified military forces of Japan that were established back in the year 1954, and they are controlled by the Ministry of Defense. Japan's power index rating is 0.1707, and they rank 6th in the entire world in terms of military power. Their total military personnel sit at 303,157. They have 1,572 total aircraft in their possession, and out of those they have 297 fighter aircraft. Japan's military has 1,004 combat tanks, as well as 3,072 armored fighting vehicles. When it comes to their total naval assets, that number totals 131, and for their helicopter count, it is at 636. Their defense budget is $47 billion. India at number 2. The Indian Armed Forces are the military forces of the Republic of India, and it consists of 3 professional uniformed forces. They're known as the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, and the Indian Air Force. Now, the Indian Armed Forces is the world's 10th largest employer by number of employees, and they total 1.3 million employees. Their power index rating sits at 0.1065, and they rank 4th in the entire world for military strength. When it comes to their total military personnel, that number sits at 3,462,500, and their total aircraft strength is at 2,082. They have 520 fighter aircraft, 4,184 combat tanks, and 2,815 armored fighting vehicles. For their total naval assets, that number is 295, and their total helicopter count is 692. All of this funded by a defense budget of $55.2 billion. Alright guys, so we're at the number 1 spot, and you probably guessed this already. We have the country of China. The Chinese People's Liberation Army is the armed forces of the People's Republic of China, and also its founding and ruling political party, the Communist Party of China. The PLA consists of 5 professional service branches, and those are the Ground Force, the Navy, the Air Force, the Rocket Force, and the Strategic Support Force. The People's Liberation Army is the world's 3rd largest employer by number, and they employ 2.52 billion employees. Their military power index rating is 0.0673, and they rank 3rd in the entire world. Their total military personnel is 2,693,000, and they have 3,187 total aircraft, as well as 1,222 fighter aircraft. For combat tanks, they have a ton. They have 13,050, and their armored fighting vehicles, even more. They have 40,000 of those things. Their naval assets sit at 714, and they have a total helicopter strength of 1,004. Now, their defense budget is pretty massive at $224 billion. So that was your list of the top 10 most powerful Asian forces. Don't forget, you can find me on social media. Follow me. Those links are below in the video description as well. Okay, so that's it for me. I'm out of here. My name is Leroy Kenton, and I'll see you next time in another episode. Hey everyone, so if you loved what you just saw, we have a playlist that's all dedicated to military videos, so I highly recommend that one. As well as we talk about many different countries and cultures here on FTD Facts, so we have a playlist on the videos that I recommend. And don't forget to tune in every single day to FTD Facts for more educational episodes.